The loudest person in the room is always the weakest. While everyone else is desperate to be heard, desperate to prove their worth through a constant stream of empty words. The most dangerous man sits in the shadows of his own mind, watching, calculating, and waiting. Silence is not just the absence of noise. It is a tactical advantage, a psychological fortress, and a weapon that cuts deeper than any insult ever could. Most people speak because they are afraid of the void, but a Stoic masters the void. If you want to become truly unshakable, if you want to command a room without saying a single word, then you must master the art of lethal silence. Do not click away, because by the end of this journey, you will understand why the world fears a man who has nothing to prove and everything to execute. Stay with me until the end, because the final insight may change the way you see power, control, and yourself forever. One of the most important truths about silence is that your words are your currency, and if you spend them too freely, you become bankrupt. Think of a king. A king does not shout from the battlements to every passerby. He speaks rarely, and when he does, the kingdom trembles. When you talk constantly, you reveal your insecurities, your plans, and your weaknesses. You give people a map of how to manipulate you. Stoicism teaches us that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. By remaining silent, you force others to fill the gap. In that gap, they reveal who they truly are. They stumble over their own lies. They show their hand while you keep yours hidden behind an expressionless mask of discipline. Consider the story of a young apprentice who sought wisdom from a master. The apprentice talked for hours about his ambitions, his troubles, and his opinions on everything. The master simply poured tea into the apprentice's cup until it overflowed, spilling onto the floor. The apprentice cried out, asking why the master kept pouring when the cup was full. The master replied that, like the cup, the apprentice was too full of his own noise to receive any wisdom. To be dangerous is to be an empty cup, ready to absorb the environment, while others spill their essence onto the floor in a desperate bid for attention. Silence is also the ultimate response to disrespect. When someone insults you, they are baiting you. They want a reaction. They want to see you lose your composure because that gives them power over you. But when you meet an insult with cold, unblinking silence, you flip the script. You become the mirror that reflects their own ugliness back at them. They expect a fire, but they find a vacuum. This is the silence of Marcus Aurelius, who understood that the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. By staying silent, you communicate that their opinion is so insignificant that it doesn't even warrant the energy of a rebuttal. You are a mountain, and they are merely the wind howling at your peaks. The wind passes, the mountain remains. If you find yourself resonating with these lessons of strength and self-mastery, take a moment to subscribe to this channel. We are building a brotherhood of individuals who seek to reclaim their power through the wisdom of the greats. The art of silence extends to your goals. Never tell the world what you are going to do. Let them see the results. There is a psychological phenomenon where announcing your goals gives you a hit of dopamine that makes your brain feel like you've already achieved them. This robs you of the hunger needed to actually do the work. A dangerous man works in the dark. He builds his empire in secret. While others are posting their progress on social media, seeking validation from strangers, The Stoic is grinding in silence.
He understands that the roar of success is far louder than any boastful words. Silence protects your energy. It keeps your fire contained so that it can burn hotter and longer. Let us speak of the silence of observation. Most people are so busy thinking about what they are going to say next that they never actually hear what is happening around them.
A master of silence is a master of psychology. He notices the slight tremor in a business rival's hand.
He hears the hesitation in a friend's voice. He sees the micro-expressions that reveal a person's true intentions.
This is why silence is lethal. It allows you to gather intelligence while others are busy leaking it.
In every negotiation, in every conflict, the person who can sit in silence the longest usually wins. It creates a pressure that most people cannot handle.
They will start making concessions just to break the tension. Silence is also the cure for regret.
How many times have you said something in anger that you later wished you could take back? How many bridges have been burned by a single minute of uncontrolled speech?
Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, taught that it is better to trip with the feet than with the tongue. A broken bone heals, but a broken reputation or a shattered relationship is much harder to mend. Lethal silence is the ability to bite your tongue when the fire of emotion rises within you. It is the 3-second delay between a provocation and your response. In those 3 seconds, you choose your destiny. You choose to be a master of your soul rather than a slave to your impulses. The dangerous man also masters the silence of solitude. Most people are terrified of being alone with their own thoughts. They constantly seek distractions, music, television, scrolling through their phones, anything to avoid the quiet.
But the Stoic embraces solitude. In the silence of your own company, you confront your demons. You analyze your failures without the filter of ego.
You plan your next move with total clarity. If you cannot sit in a room alone for an hour without feeling the need to escape, you are not a free man. You are a prisoner of your own mind's noise. Mastering silence means becoming your own best friend and your most honest critic. Let's look at a case study of silence in leadership. Imagine a CEO who enters a boardroom where everyone is arguing. He doesn't join the fray. He sits at the head of the table, silent, making eye contact with every person in the room. Slowly, the shouting dies down. The room becomes heavy with his silence.
When he finally speaks, his voice is calm and low, and every person leans in to hear him. This is the power of the Stoic leader.
He doesn't demand respect with noise. He commands it with presence. His silence is a vacuum that pulls the focus of everyone toward him. He is the anchor in the storm. Furthermore, silence is the language of resilience. When life hits you with a tragedy, the common man wails and asks why this is happening to him. He complains to anyone who will listen. But the dangerous man, the Stoic, meets tragedy with a grim, silent resolve. He internalizes the pain and converts it into fuel. He understands that complaining is a leak of power. It doesn't change the situation. It only makes you look weak to yourself and others. Like Epictetus, who was born a slave and had his leg broken by a cruel master without a single cry of pain, the Stoic knows that his body may be shackled, but his mind remains a fortress of silence. The silence of the Stoic is also about humility. Do not feel the need to explain your virtues. If you are a good person, let your actions speak. If you are strong, let your discipline speak. There is nothing more pathetic than a man who has to tell you how alpha or how dangerous he is. True power is self-evident. It radiates from a man's posture, his gaze, and his consistency. When you stop trying to convince others of your worth, you gain a level of freedom that most will never know. You stop being a performer and start being a practitioner.
As we go deeper into this idea, consider the silence of death. Memento mori. The Stoic keeps the silence of the grave in his mind at all times. He knows that one day his voice will be silenced forever. This realization doesn't make him sad. It makes him focused. It strips away the trivialities. It stops him from engaging in petty arguments or worrying about what people think of him.
In the face of eternal silence, why would you waste a single breath on something that doesn't matter? This perspective makes you dangerous because it makes you fearless. A man who has accepted his own end and the silence that follows cannot be intimidated. Silence is your shield against the chaos of the world. The world will try to pull you into its madness. It will try to make you take sides in every argument, comment on every news story, and react to every outrage. The Stoic chooses to remain silent. He does not let the world's noise penetrate his inner sanctuary.
He remains indifferent to the clamor of the masses. This indifference is his greatest strength. While the world is spinning out of control, he is standing still, centered in the art of lethal silence. We have explored the many layers of this discipline.
From the strategic silence of the negotiator to the internal silence of the meditator, we have seen how silence builds mystery, commands respect, and preserves power. It is a tool for the wise and a trap for the foolish.
The man who masters his tongue masters his life. He becomes a predator in a world of prey, not because he is cruel, but because he is controlled. He is dangerous because he is unpredictable. You never know what a silent man is thinking, and that uncertainty is your greatest advantage. Now, as we reflect on everything we've explored, I want you to look inward. Look at the areas of your life where you have been too loud. Look at the times you spoke when you should have listened, or complained when you should have endured. The transformation begins today. It begins the next time someone tries to provoke you and you choose to stay silent. It begins the next time you achieve something great and you choose not to tell a soul. It begins when you realize that your silence is not a void, but a reservoir of untapped power. What was the one moment in your life where you spoke and immediately regretted it, or stayed silent and felt the power shift in your favor? I want to hear your story. Share it in the comments below. Let us learn from each other's journeys towards self-mastery. Go now and walk the path of the Stoic. Let the world scream, let the world roar, and let the world boast. You, however, shall remain in the shadows of your own discipline. Be the man who says little, but does much. Be the man whose presence is felt more than his voice. Be the master of the art of lethal silence. The world belongs to those who can master themselves in the quiet. Until we meet again, stay focused, stay disciplined, and stay silent.